welcome to 19 O'Clock News, the Kodocha podcast. I'm your host, That Kodocha Girl.
And I am Mahou Shoujo M slash Daily Kodocha, which is really more like monthly Kodocha at the moment, but don't worry about it.
Lots of busy things this
Ye-
year for the both of us.
100%. It's been a lot, but we're here and we're kind of excited to be just like back in a semi-normal recording schedule.
Yes, doing an episode recap, which we haven't done. I don't think we've done one since the Mommy and Kurosuke episode.
Is it really? Dang. Yeah, I think you're right though. It has been a hot minute. I mean, there's enough Kodocha content to keep us going for like probably 15 years, but
You know, it's funny because I feel like a lot of people would look at Kodocha like on the surface and be like, "Oh, that's a podcast that could last maybe a year." Not for us.
woo-hoo-hoo. Not for us, baby. We'll be starting year 4 in October, which is pretty crazy. So that's that's pretty wild.
I can't wait until we finally do a season two recap because
Oh my
like
God, right?
those episodes I haven't watched as much as season one, so I'm
hmm
really excited to really dig deep into those with you
hmm
at some point.
Oh yeah.
Especially some of the oddly enough, I'm actually looking forward to like some of the later season two episodes because those I really haven't seen that much. So
Yeah, that's very true. I think some of those I actually have only seen like like max 2 times, but some of them I think only once. Because back in the day when I was first watching the series illegally via YouTube, because it wasn't really a legal way to watch season 2, I don't think I made it all the way through before the episodes got taken down.
mhm.
So they are not familiar to me at all. Also, season 2 is just like there's so much like controversial stuff in there to get into. Should lend us plenty of chit chat material and opinions from our friends and listeners.
Yeah. I I definitely fall or fell into the camp of like not liking season two when I first watched it, but it's
Mm.
really grown on me over time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for the junior high years anyway, just because like things are just a little bit amped up and like there's really good drama, things get a little deeper, we get more into our relationships. Things get a little bit more like complicated in a way that I find very satisfying. And those episodes, like where they are kind of taking the original Obana material and adapting it, are like so good.
Yeah.
Like definitely some of the best of the show, I think.
Yeah. It's definitely
Also,
on par with like the first half of season one for sure.
I would definitely agree. And the other thing that I like about season 2 is that them being in their uniforms all the time does not bother me.
No,
Like in
I
season
like the
1,
consistency.
that's like it's not it's if they're gonna have to keep the characters in the same clothes all the time, if it's a uniform, I'm like, okay, I'm good. But Sana's pink shirt for all of season 1 is like, ooh,
Well,
a
especially
miss for
towards the
clothes.
end.
I know. Yeah, it's like it's winter. Why are you just wearing your normal clothes? You're telling me they couldn't come up with a jacket for you?
Well,
You're
they
telling
came
me
up with
they
the jacket when she was in the mountains with Takashi.
Yeah, it's funny how they found the budget and the time in those episodes. We're fine. It's fine. But today, we are firmly in season 1. We're doing a filler episode. Ooh, scandal. Who are we? Except that we also did a filler episode last time we did an episode recap, but that's besides the point.
Well,
Uh,
we're kind of going in chronological order
yeah,
to some
pseudo.
degree, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's just where it fell for us. So
So yeah, so today we're going to talk about episode 28, the romantic love song of Mr. Hayama, which is I think one of the best filler episodes we got.
I agree. And I was actually while I was watching it this week for the podcast, I was telling my husband, I'm like, this is just really this is like up there in my top five comfort episodes because like it just makes me feel super cozy when I watch
Oh
this one.
yeah. It's so good. Like my It's so good. It's so funny. It's also been a while since I've watched it. And so there were definitely like things that I was like, I didn't remember this at all, but this is fantastic. So I definitely I do think one of the nice things about like if it's been a while between watches for me, it's like I get to watch it for the first time all over again.
Yeah.
And I had that a little bit with this episode, which I know is perhaps surprising, but I just love it.
And admittedly, and I know some people are going to be appalled and shocked by this, but a few of these episodes I have actually not seen the Japanese dub, so it's like a new experience for me too.
Yeah, there's definitely I have a lot of interesting little notes um on both just like things I noticed in the Japanese version, stuff I noticed in the English edition. We got a lot of translation notes this week.
I'm excited to hear it because there was a few things I wrote down and I tried to Google search them and I was like coming up short. So maybe you found something.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to get into it. I guess I'll kick us off with something that I noticed for the first time in regards to the Discotheque Blu-ray release. I think Ari and I briefly touched base about this before the episode. And we noticed that in the Blu-ray menu, when you go through the episodes and you select episode 28, yep, Romantic Love Song of Mr. Hayama, it is not connected to episode 28.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it might have broken my Blu-ray because
Really?
I tried going to another episode to see what would happen, and I think it did the exact same thing.
Ooh.
Like it was stuck like on
Oh.
episode 8, I
Not,
think.
yeah, I think it's 8. That's really weird because I went and just selected episode 27 and then just like skipped scenes until I got to 28. But that's really weird that it's put you in a episode 8 loop.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like go back and like maybe do what you did and maybe that'll reset it. But yeah, it
Yeah,
was
that's
like
so weird.
I was like honestly kind of heartbroken. I was like, oh
Oh,
no, my favorite show and the Blu-ray's all messed up.
oh no. I was really yeah, I mean, Discotheque obviously did such a great job with these releases and there are so many details that go into creating and distributing something like this that I was really like this is the first like mistake I've noticed in the discs and it really yeah, it would just surprise me. I'm like, insanity is what trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I just was so convinced that that couldn't be what was happening that I like tried it 3 times before I was like, okay, they just have this linked wrong.
Yeah.
And I, embarrassingly enough, the thing that clued me in is I was watching the episode. I'm like, this kind of feels like an older version of the intro cards. And then she said, "This is my boyfriend Ray," and I said, "Ah, yes,
There it is.
there it is." I was like, that's not. Another thing I noticed, as I was, I guess, like when I'm watching the opening theme song, I just enjoy the opening theme song. And because I'm learning Japanese, also, I tend to have my eyes focused on the bottom part of the screen so that I can follow along with the hiragana and the kanji. But today, my eyes glanced upward and I saw that Discotheque subtitled the song 7 o'clock News. And I am absolutely disgusted. They are part of the problem.
I forgot that you had that whole thing going on.
QG new. Like it just Q 19. They just 10 nines. They never say 7. It's not Shichiji no news you. Anyway, I'm fine.
Honestly, I'm kind of with you. I'm probably not as heated about it, but they should have
Oh.
kept in the 19.
The 24-hour clock is used in the US and all over the world.
Hmm.
I just this is my hill. I don't know why. I just it's a thing that bothers me. But I'm like, discotheque stuff aside, once you get into the episode and start watching it, it's a great episode. I
Yeah,
just
like I
the
said, it's one of the coziest filler
yeah,
episodes, I think.
definitely. Like it's high stakes but low stakes. It's very funny. We've got like in true Kodocha fashion, we have like a full arc of like hilarity, but also these like really beautiful and tender moments. Like it's just chef's kiss.
Hmm.
And also, I want to make so many GIFs just from this episode.
Yeah, it's definitely GIF worthy.
Oh my gosh.
Very
Like I
GIF
already
and meme worthy.
Right. I am like, I made that one of Fuyuki doing his dance and we'll use it at every possible opportunity. But I was watching today and I was like, ooh, that would be a good gif. Ooh, that would be a good gif. Ooh, that would be a good gif. So I'm
You know, there's
probably gonna do that.
there's actually like some canon material in this episode. Um,
Yes.
it's actually at the very beginning,
Yeah.
when Sana's planning the middle birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was something I noticed in the Japanese dub that she said that kind of confused me. I wrote it down
Mm.
and I was like, I guess that's like some sort of like Japanese phrase, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I looked it up and I couldn't find exactly what it was other than so when she's trying to pare down the days to the middle birthday,
Mm-hmm.
she gets stuck because she's like trying to do math. And so
Mm-hmm.
she says something like crane this is crane and turtle math, and I had no idea what that meant. I looked it up and there's apparently like a tale called The Crane and the Tortoise, which is
Oh.
like about helping other people. Um, but I couldn't find it in the context of like doing math. So I don't know what the context of that whole phrase was. Did you happen to catch
Mm.
that?
I didn't. I honestly I perceived and made an assumption that it was just another instance of Sana misusing or misphrasing some or like you mistaking a phrase
Hmm.
as she so often does, and but normally Babbitt would come out to correct her or somebody else would correct her if it was something that she messed up like that. So I'm actually not sure. I got stuck on a different part of that scene with my
Okay.
translation fixation. Yeah, it honestly it's a very silly thing. But you know, tanjobi is the word for birthday. So you'd say for somebody to say happy birthday, that's o tanjobi o medito, which is basically like birthday, congratulations. But when she's talking about middle birthdays, she says manaka, which is middle. But then she uses the English like the English pronunciation like birthday. So manaka birthday instead of like manaka tanjobi. And I just thought that was interesting. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So I was like, if you're gonna be using like the English, like to me it makes more sense if it was like mideru, like birthday, but it was manaka birthday, which I just thought was interesting. Little
Hmm.
combo thing there. So I don't know. We love a little katakana pronunciation of English words. I never feel weird saying them. I do feel weird saying them. I do not like doing it. Okay. Yeah, but no, the crane and tortoise stuff, I don't know. If anybody
I feel
knows,
like
holla,
that's
because we're curious. We're like, I don't know. I did think it was fun, you know, Sana and Tsuyoshi jump into their song about Christmas time. Um, and I do think Christ Sama made me laugh a lot.
oh yeah.
It was just like I was like, that's what we call him now. And then of course the English version, lest we forget the year, like casually skirting any and all mentions to religion, which made me
Yeah.
laugh.
Very interesting subtle cultural differences there.
Oh yeah. There were a few dub moments where I was like, ah yes, lest we forget that this was dubbed in 2006, which in general, I mean, this is kind of a side thought, but you know, I think they were really sensitive around that time to even mentioning Christianity or religions in anime. Like I do remember in when Tokyo Mew Mew was being dubbed in Mew Mew Power, like Zakuro wears a cross necklace, they turned it into a stick. Like um, they did try to dub Saint Tail for Saturday morning cartoons. They didn't. They got 15 episodes in before they were like, ah, yes. Well, one of the main characters is a nun, and they pray every episode, and we just can't take the Christ out of Christmas. You can't take the Christ out of Saint Tail. It just can't be done. Before they gave up on that, I just think it's really interesting because I don't feel like they're that sensitive to it these days. But in them early aughts, they just didn't want to mention it.
I guess they were trying to, reach a wide audience because it's possible they were like, oh, if we have this in our show, like groups that are, anti-Christian or they practice
Mm-hmm.
another religion, they're not going to watch our show. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a it, just from what I remember anyway, it just really felt like there was a lot of energy being put at like not wanting to possibly offend any group, which, in so doing, you sort of water things down and then you end up offending kind of every group. Just a just an interesting thing.
One moment I really like in this episode is and it's like it's so my sense of humor. It's just like this random shot of I guess it's Samu, and he's just like sweet potato.
Oh, I didn't recognize that as Samu, but I think you might be right. I was just like, that's the sweet potato guy, and I moved on with mine. But I
I don't
did
know
know
if that's him for sure, but it
this.
looks like him.
Yeah, I'm like, now that you say it, I'm like, feels plausible. But I did think that was a really interesting. The second time through watching the episode, I was like, oh, this is kind of a fun full circle moment because the sweet potatoes are what trigger Sana being like, oh, you eat sweet potatoes in fall. Akito's name means autumn person. You must be born in autumn, which really ties into the end of the episode where they're talking about like where one of Koharu's favorite foods, her fall food, is roasted sweet potatoes. And I was like,
I
oh,
thought
it
that
just
was a
kind of,
nice touch.
yeah, it was a nice little full circle moment that I didn't notice upon first watch, but watching it two times in a row, I was like, ah, yes, there it is. That's nice. I had kind of forgotten about Sana and Tsuyoshi going with the Hayamas to the grave.
Really? That was like one of the
Yeah.
main scenes I remember from this episode. Was this one? And then the very end when they're trying to be really off-putting with Shiori.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I'll be honest, the Fuyuki rap is like my main takeaway from this episode. So I don't know why I had totally forgotten. But I guess it like to me, I think it like I when I first saw it, I said, "Oh yes, that's good." And it's lived in my subconscious because I've headcanoned forever that when the Hayamas moved to LA, that Sana and Tsuyoshi take care of Koharu's grave while they're gone.
I like that. Yeah,
I just feel
that's
like
sweet.
I just feel like they would. And I'm like, so that thought probably is not an original thought. It probably came from this episode, and I had just forgotten. Um, but I loved it. And that Sana's prayer, like your boy's a bit of a scamp, but he's still a good boy, so don't you worry. Just like crying in the club. It's
Yeah.
so good. It just made me a little emotional. A lot of Koharu things make me emotional in general, but like that, I was like,
I like how this episode, like, and I think it predates it by a long time, where in the manga, Sana and Akito visit his mother's grave. Like, I think it's in
mm,
like volume 9.
yeah, it's toward the end.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, stay. Lest we forget, that's on their first date. Akito's
Interesting
like,
first date, but
yeah,
then
he's
again,
like,
it
I've
makes
got
sense
it.
for them.
And she makes bentos, and he's like, let's go to a grave and then go home. Everybody, please read the manga once again. I am once again asking.
I also liked how in the Japanese dub, and I know this isn't real, but I'm gonna say it anyway just because it's funny. But there was some foreshadowing to the New York arc in this
Statue of
moment.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. I loved the way in the Japanese version, they're like, Fuyuki's like, what did she look like? And Sana's like, beautiful. Not like in an Easter Island statue kind of way, more like the Statue of Liberty, which is like, girl, what is that sentence? What are
Like
you talking
those are
about?
like complete opposites, like
Yes.
style of statue.
I know. I don't, maybe somebody else has got some cultural context. My guess is that because the Easter Island statues have very prominent noses, which is a thing that I have read. Their noses are considered good looking in many Asian countries. That's my guess.
hmm
That might be why she was like so beautiful, these Easter Island statues. I'm like, such a heavy brow bone on the Easter Island statues, but pop off, Queen. Your idea of beautiful.
I just took it as, Sauna being Sauna and just random.
Yeah. for
Or
sure.
maybe like not understanding what those statues looked like. Maybe she was picturing
Oh,
something different because you know
I
how
wouldn't
she
be
is.
surprised. Yeah. I did love the way in the English version they kind of shifted it into like the Statue of Liberty but without the crown. I was like, yeah, that was a good localization. I thought that was nice.
Mhm.
And then I also just think it's very cute that they called her beautiful until they found out her name. It's like that's nice. That's a pretty nickname. But yeah, also just as they're walking into the cemetery and Fuyuki says that Koharu liked things lively. We've touched on this a little bit how at this stage in the anime production they would not have known anything about Koharu because nothing had been revealed about her to that point in the manga. So
Mhm.
she does get a little bit of like the dead mom, dead wife treatment, but they were right about that. Koharu likes things lively.
Yeah, the only thing they were wrong about, and we've talked about this, I know we've talked about it in our just regular conversations. I don't know if we've touched on it in the podcast,
Mm.
but like, you know, Koharu in the manga, when she's like shown, she can be a little bit of a wild child, so we can kind of see
Yeah.
where Akito gets his delinquent behavior from. But in here, you know, she's very like,
Yeah.
I love wholesome, cute things.
They it's like in every movie when they do like flashbacks to like the dead spouse or the dead mom and it's just like why is she wearing a white sundress and walking along the beach? I just watched that episode of Stranger Things like yesterday. Um,
Oh
with
yeah,
Billy's
yeah, I
mom.
know. Yes.
I'm like, I know you know. I'm like, so that's although I don't think she's dead, but like that energy, you know, the kind of like
Like kind
quirky
of
dead
like
mom. Yeah,
always portraying them in like some angelic fashion.
angelic, but also like a little quirky. You know, like they're painting a room. She takes the paintbrush and like paints the guy on the nose, like stuff like that. Like that's to me like dead mom, dead wife treatment.
They kind of did that.
Um,
I hate to like say this because I love this movie and it's a great movie and I don't want to downplay like this character at all, but like they kind of did that like in Up, the
oh
Pixar
yeah.
movie.
Oh,
Like
100%. Yeah, they
they made
fully
her
gave
very
Ellie.
quirky
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah, Ellie 100% has dead wife treatment in that movie. It is still a great movie. The reason that it's a trope that's used so much is because like it resonates with people and it makes you kind of endeared to this character that's not around.
Mhm.
Um I'm like it became a trope for a reason. So doesn't mean we have to discount it. It's just an observation.
Oh my gosh, like I'm kind of tearing up thinking about that because that movie gets me a little emotional.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a good movie.
you know, it's funny. I'm just gonna share this because like
Yeah.
I I think some of our like younger viewers could appreciate this because it's just like it sounds like a silly like Gen Z saying. But so I was the other night I wanted to watch a movie with my husband and I'm like we should watch a Pixar movie because I haven't seen one in a while and I suggested Up. And he's like, I don't know about that tonight. And I'm like, why? And he's like, it's sob bait. And I'm like, what is it? Where did you get that saying off the internet? He's like, I didn't. I just made it up. And I just like died laughing. And I'm like, that sounds like something that like the kids would say on the internet when describing like a sad scene
Yeah.
or something.
I mean,
So we ended up watching How to Train Your Dragon, but we're gonna watch Up eventually. But we both weren't in the mood to cry that night.
I know. And that's the thing too, is like it's in the first like what 15 minutes of the movie. So like you really get like with a lot of like every Pixar movie, especially like one more recent ones, like has a cry moment in it somewhere. Like I'm gonna cry in a Pixar movie at some point. They just do a really good job of like finding where that emotional beat should be. But Up doesn't like ramp you up to it. They just start with it.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, whoo, okay, I'm fine.
This is a kids movie.
This is, oh man. And like it is, but to anybody with even a sprinkling of life experience, it's like, ooh, it just hits different.
hmm hmm
Mm. So yeah, How to Train Your Dragon, good choice.
moving on to the
Moving on.
episode.
Yes, back. Circling back up. Is there anything else at the cemetery, or do we want to?
I just want to say, I really like the backgrounds in this particular section of the anime. Like they
Mm.
like I'm terrible at describing anything artistic because I'm not really an art person. But I just really liked the colors that they utilized in the background panels for this episode, like with the trees and
Mm.
I thought it was very much like Babbitt said. It's a nice change of pace for their show. Like it's just like this nice
Yeah,
little outdoorsy, very 90s shoujo aesthetic. Just like I said, very cozy vibes.
definitely. And if you've been to any like temples or shrines in Japan, it's like, yeah, no, that's what they look like. Like very accurate in that sense. But you're right. They're really, it's sort of like Kodocha doesn't really do seasons so much. Like it will be winter or it like will be spring, summer, but like they don't really do like other than Misako's cherry blossom hat, which does make an appearance in this episode. Like they don't really do the cherry blossom leaves thing. They don't really do like there I can think of like other than this episode, I can think of one other instance where it's fall. And that I think was in that trailer for like season 3 that didn't happen.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
You know, like it's fall in that. But for the most part, like flipping a switch, it's green or it's white. Like,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, you're right. That was a really lovely touch. You know, when they put their whole selves into these episodes, they are really good. They
Yeah.
just, I guess
This
after,
is go ahead.
oops, sorry. No, I was just gonna transition us into the next thing. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say this is like one of the few filler episodes I feel really complements the canon stuff. Because
Mm,
they a lot of the filler episodes, and I know I've complained about this before, in multiple places online, is that they borrow way too much from the canon when they're doing the filler episodes. But I feel like this one,
mm,
like there's moments where like you can kind of like notice that they're borrowing something, but it's like very subtle and it's not really like they're just doing the same thing again like they do in that one episode where they go to the Kimura Academy and like it's literally just like
hmm.
Sana versus a miniature version of Aikido and
Yeah.
that's the episode.
Hmm. With a lot of reused animation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, that's definitely fair. Yeah, I do think like when they kind of sit and really, I think like consider the story as a whole and they find these things that expand the world. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, and this is a thing that like expands on the world in a way that I think is really satisfying. So I agree. It's nice. I wish they did it a little bit more than they do. Because sometimes it's expanding the world in a way that I'm like, I don't really need to see Sana's birth mom again. We had a really nice wrap up.
Yep, we should have a whole podcast episode dedicated to that, honestly.
To a hate watch of that episode.
Oh no, I was thinking like things in the anime that like detract from the world building.
Oh, I could, I could. I just feel like many of our listeners would probably not feel the same way.
It'd
Our
be
listeners, I think, skew anime fans. Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. But yeah, I mean, we could. I'm like, things got pretty heated just during our tier list live episode.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you'd like an episode. Maybe we could do like, because I don't like to keep things like completely positive or negative. So like, we could do like top 5 or 10 episodes that complement the world building, and then top 5 episodes that detract. Something
Yeah.
like that. I
Do
think
it
that'd be
like a
cool.
compliment sandwich. We'll do a positive. We'll talk about all the stuff we don't like, and then we'll do another positive,
Yeah.
and it will be fine. Yeah, but I guess back to the episode. After that, we transition back to the Kurata household where we are having dinner with Rei and Shimura and Onda and Misako. And
Whole gang.
I had forgotten that Misako started this whole ass thing.
Yeah,
Like she literally put the idea in Sana's head and then Sana couldn't get rid of it. And then she was kind of like, "Ah, no, there's no way." And then Shimura was just like, "Feels
it's been a
plausible to
while.
me." Yeah,
Yeah. I like how Shimura has like a line in this
I
episode.
know. Good for her. Yeah, I did. The other thing that got me was in the English translation. Like, I think in the Japanese, she basically is just like, I mean, it's been a long time. Like, men remarry. These are things that happen. In the English version, she's like, he's still a young and attractive man. And I was like, Shimura, are you flirting with
Ooh.
Fuyuki?
New ship has emerged.
New ship has emerged, which is why the Shimura copycat was the Akito copycat's mom in the
Oh, it
New
all
York
makes
arc.
sense
It all
now.
makes sense. But yeah, I was like, girl. And then, like, I think if it was just Shimura, it'd be one thing. But Ray was like, also, like, sounds plausible. It's like, what? And then she has that vision of Fuyuki as a lover, and he sings, and he's wearing purple eyeshadow, and there's just so much.
It's definitely like
Oh my god.
probably like the second best moment in this episode.
Mm-hmm. It's so
We all know
good.
what the first one is.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm like, and that's talk about hills I will die on. That's one of them. I just love it. It's really funny. So then, of course, I'm like, do you have anything on that scene?
I actually preferred there's a line that Misako says in the scene when she's talking about like people in love, and I actually thought the English dub line was funnier. So she
Mm.
says, uh, "We're all just pawns in the chess game of love." I thought that was a brilliant line. And the
Oh yeah,
Japanese version, I can't remember what she says, but she
yeah,
says something about like losing out on love, and I thought it didn't hit as hard as the English line.
for sure. Yeah, no, I do think that was a good localization choice. That was really nice. So then we skirt over to Sana telling Tsuyoshi and Akito what she thinks. And they're like, literally not possible. You're nuts. And then, of course, Shiori and Fuyuki walk right by them, which just had me crying laughing at the timing of that. And they all
Yeah.
turn blue. And it was just like,
That's
so
another
good.
great thing about this episode is like the timing of things happening is like
Mm.
perfect.
Yes. Yeah. Great comic timing in this episode. 100%. And so then, of course, we get to have the resurgence of Sherlock Holmes and
Washington,
yes, in Washington. Uh, Tsuyoshi in full on Washington Kun get up.
loved it.
Just I also just Washington Kun made me
Right?
laugh. It's like as if George Washington is Sana's peer. Just like the honorific there really made me laugh. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
girl,
that was a
okay.
good one.
So good. And then of course, like in the Japanese version, she's like, it's after they're like, it's Watson. She's like, come on, Vaseline Kun. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
I did think the English localization of like, come on, Wasabi was like, okay, that's like at least in the same family. But Vaseline Kun? Girl,
Yeah,
what?
what in the world?
What was that? What was that? So they go to spy on Fuyuki and Shiori,
And she
which
just
is
has
just
to drop her contact lens.
I know that I was gonna say I'm like that scene like it's very like again cultural context like you would probably not make physical contact with somebody that you were not very close with that way, so like of course they see that they're gonna be like you know
Hmm.
naturally this is what we are looking at. I did get a kick out of also in the Japanese version as they're like army crawling, like bear crawling across the restaurant. So she's like, "Are we really doing this?" And Sonic goes, "Whenever a person earnestly dives into what they're doing, they are more beautiful than ever." And I just
Words of wisdom.
words of wisdom. I was like, oh, that really that hits different.
That's like Twitter bio worthy, honestly.
Honest, right? And I'm like, and what are Kodocha fans if not people who are earnestly diving into what we're doing? It just really got me. That scene is so good. And of course, we've got a random Zenjiro appearance, which is, I do feel kind of bad for him, actually, in
Yeah.
this one. Yeah,
He
he
was, I
never
felt like he was kind of shoehorned into the scene, honestly.
definitely shoehorned in. It was very much like ooh, are we contractually obligated to include him in every episode? Better write a scene.
Probably
Um,
since he's an actual person.
yeah, I definitely think so. Probably part of like the likeness rights or whatever. But I did, I mean, I felt bad for the character in the sense that like Sana does not clarify what he has done wrong. She's just like, you're a bad person. He goes, I guess I am, and floats off into the ether.
Yeah.
It's like,
Not to be seen again until probably a child's toy taping.
yeah, they just, I don't know, it just tickled me. And I felt a little bad for him.
Um, the only translation difference I noticed was I don't know why they changed this, but in the Japanese dub it's a tea shop, in the English dub it's a coffee shop. Don't know why they
No.
changed it, but whatever.
I guess because I mean tea shops aren't I guess it's I'm if I'm positing a random guess, I think it's just because tea shops, at least back then, were not like as common as they are now. This was kind of before like boba had its moment and like I think in 2006 America was firmly filled with coffee drinkers.
Yeah, it makes
Like
sense.
I do think it's probably more even now. I think there's probably more of a split, but 20 years ago. But yeah, that is an interesting note. I missed that one. So well done you. Yeah, I guess after that, they either stop back by the Kurata house or they go right over to the Hayamas. Help me, because there's a line that Misako says that I like works for the episode, but I actually think is not on par with advice that Misako would actually give as
Hmm.
probably one of our wisest characters in the show. She says, like, if you think you are in the right, or in English, she says, if your cause is just, then it's you can use all sorts of dirty tricks. Which I'm like, ooh, that doesn't that doesn't feel in character to me.
Mm,
What do you
see,
think?
that's one of those like that's like a piece of advice I really feel like there's a really heavy gray area there.
Mm,
Um, I don't know, because I thought that they put it more eloquently in the English dub about how sometimes you have to bend the rules, which honestly I kind of agree with that. Uh, I feel like Misako would say something like that, but what she said in the Japanese dub kind of surprised me because she basically said, "Sometimes you gotta not fight fair." That didn't really feel in
yeah,
character to me, but
I
like how they
agree.
phrased it in the English dub felt more like her. Like I feel like she would be the
Yes.
one to break the rules sometimes.
Absolutely. I think for me, the thing that really flagged it as a weird thing for her to say was the dirty tricks to me, because like Misako is, I mean, obviously she bends the rules and she pushes back on conformity and against like cultural expectations like every day just by nature of how she exists in the world, right?
Yeah.
But she's not underhanded about it. Like to me, dirty tricks says like manipulative, like underhanded, and that just doesn't feel like the same advice she'd give. 'Cause she's always kind of like, go out into the world like with your full chest, basically, and Sana does. So I
Yeah.
don't know, just something about that line just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't get come across as a person who would like suggest like someone needs to be sneaky or
Hmm.
like scheming. So yeah, I agree with you on that. But I think the like I said, the translation
Yeah.
in the English dub, like they kind of worded it to where it fits her character more. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird way of putting it. You gotta resort to dirty tricks. Like, yeah, that doesn't really fit her at all. Like she's definitely like she definitely would be more in your face if she wanted to accomplish something. She'd be more
Hmm.
like um focused on getting that, and she wouldn't hide her plans at all to achieve what she needs to achieve. And yeah, I can't see her giving Sana that advice either.
Yeah, I agree. Because even with things like, birth mother, please come forward. and stuff like that. Like that was, but it wasn't underhanded, I guess.
No, like she could be subtle, I think,
Yes.
in certain
Yes.
cases, but I don't think she would ever like resort to like being like, because I feel like she does not really have a mean-spirited bone in her body, like just from
Mm,
her characterization.
yeah.
I think she can be like tricky, like in a kind of like prankster kind of way, but not like
Yeah.
in a like getting back at someone sort of way.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree there. Like, yeah, I think you put it well. She's not mean-spirited. Like she definitely has like a strong sense of justice, and she definitely is a person who just like feels very strongly and very protective, but she's not mean or cruel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Um
kind of weird in the Japanese dub. I felt like
eh,
the English dub actually did Misako justice in this whole episode. I felt like all the lines that they gave her in the English version were a lot better.
yeah, that's definitely fair. I mean, we gotta applaud good localization when it happens.
Hmm.
As it does not often always happen. But yeah, I think especially with an episode like this where, it's already kind of like, I mean, the risk with many of these filler episodes is that people get a little out of character, just from the initial script. And I think that was part of what happened here with Misako, but it was nice that I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I just really don't feel like anybody working on the dub in English probably read the manga or knew that they were doing that. I'm calling it happy accident.
Yeah, I'd say the same, honestly.
But I mean, it'd be cool if they did. I would have loved that,
Yeah.
you know. If they like it was all just like her character's more like this in the books. Let's try to. But I somehow doubt it.
I just don't think they put that much thought
Yeah,
into it.
that's fair.
I think just based on Daichi's directing style, he tends to zone in on the comedy aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his primary goal when making shows is to make people laugh. So I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes he kind of brushes aside like uh, characterization or like things that would be consistent in a plot just for laughs. Or putting characters in there that are projections of his issues, but
Mm-hmm.
that's a topic for another day.
It is. What I guess what I actually meant when I said that was like the English team, who's working on translating and localizing it for American audiences. I don't think
Mm.
that they read the manga. I
Oh, okay.
know that Daichi didn't read the manga because he freaking says he didn't. He's like, I read it once and then threw it away and did my own
Yeah.
thing. And I said, okay, this impacts how I feel about you as a person. Um, I feel differently about you now. Sorry. I guess circling back to the episode, San and Tsuyoshi go to the Hayama's house, and see Akito and Natsumi and kind of tell them what they're thinking, which uh, actually, this is a random English note, um, just about the audio. But I was wearing my headphones when I was watching the episode today, because my husband was still asleep. And we had some very interesting little stereo sound moment where I could, when Tsuyoshi and Sana are talking over each other to Natsumi,
Mhm.
Tsuyoshi's audio was in my left ear and Sana was in my right. And I was like, ooh, it was kind of weird.
Interesting.
I know, because I don't normally notice it when I'm just like watching it on TV with, I guess, my like normal out loud sound system. But with my headphones, I was like, oh, how
Yeah, because
interesting.
yeah, usually things like that I never notice if it's like coming through the TV
Hmm.
or anything that's like
Yeah.
outward, not headphones or earbuds or whatever. Yeah, that's interesting.
Wasn't it? Yeah, because I was kind of like listening for it for the rest of the episode, and there really weren't a lot of moments like that where the audio kind of like diverged into, I'm presuming, like two different tracks that way. But I also don't
Yeah,
know
they
enough
they
about sound.
that would be called panning. So like The
She's a musician, everybody. She
do
knows
you
everything.
do you remember which headphones Tsuyoshi came out of?
It was in my left.
Okay, so Tsuyoshi would have been panning left and Sana's voice would have been panning right.
You guys. TKG is
Uh,
so cool. Lest we forget.
See, I'm a complete dumbass when it comes to like art. Like I'm just like I like the pretty colors in the background here. But when it comes to like the sound or the music, like I can probably tell you the intricate like term for whatever's happening.
That is true. I so like when we did our episode and our live like talking about the music and you were like, and this was this instrument, this was this style of music, and I was just like, music fun. Now
Meanwhile,
it's
like that whole episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like sweating behind the scenes, like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't sound stupid.
no, you didn't. You sounded super smart because you are super smart, but like, don't worry.
We all
If
have our
anything,
strengths and
we do.
weaknesses.
We do. We all bring interesting perspectives. The other thing I noticed about that scene that I thought was really interesting was in the Japanese version. In the Japanese version in the manga, Sana starts calling Natsumi Natsumi, just like her first name, like very early on. She is Natsumi-san. They are on first name basis. They are good friends. But I thought it was interesting that in the anime she was calling her Hayama Ane, like for Hayama older sister, which does kind of go with the Hayama Chichi, father Hayama, Hayama haha, mother Hayama
Yeah. Mhm.
theme from the show, but I thought it was interesting that they made that continuation choice instead of just having them be on a first name basis.
Yeah. I didn't notice that.
No, I don't. And why would you have? Because it doesn't matter. It's just a thing I noticed.
No, it's interesting. It don't discredit it. It's an interesting little uh difference in the yeah.
Ah, thank you. Just a little something I picked up on. And so then all hell breaks loose as you know, Tsushi's like, this would never happen because when this like when something like this happens, the dad will come into the room and be like, there's somebody I want you to meet. And then like immediately Fuyuki does exactly that.
There's that comedic timing.
It really was so good. And then Sana drags Tsuyoshi out of the room. Now Sumi drags Hayama out of the room. And they begin their epic plot to make sure that Shiori thinks that Fuyuki is super weird.
I just want to bring up the fact that like Akito just does not care through this whole
No.
thing. It's so funny. It just makes it even better, honestly.
I completely agree. And I can kind of see why. Like, I can obviously, like, Natsumi being super invested. And I love that line that she has where she's like, oh, I always think that the children in dramas are being so unreasonable when they don't want their parent to get remarried. She's like, but now that I'm, like, kind of experiencing that, she's like, I don't think I want that. Like, that. Mm. And, like, for her, too, that's a big shakeup as a teenager for, like, the life that she's been living for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Um,
This is why I say this episode really adds to Kodocha as a whole because
mm,
it keeps with that like it has that good balance of the comedy and like kind of adding that real life situation into the mix too to keep it, to keep it true to life and to keep it
mhm.
relatable to the people watching because, there's kids who go through that all the time, they all
Mm.
of a sudden they get a step parent and it's a hard adjustment and I liked how that was a theme that was touched on a little bit in this episode.
Yeah, I agree. But then it's also interesting too that Akito like is kind of nonplussed about it just because like he really I mean he wasn't parented for most of his childhood. He doesn't really have anything to like he doesn't have a context for what having a mother would be like, so he doesn't really know if that's something that he would or wouldn't like, I guess.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, Sana made it look pretty good in episode 6. He was probably like, "All right, fine,
Yeah,
if I
we saw
must."
we saw that embarrassment a little bit in this episode too. So
Yeah, sweet baby. Made me laugh. So yeah, so they get Fuyuki out of the house. I thought Laura Bailey's choice for a Minnesota accent for the neighborhood association lady was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was great.
Um, that was good. And then they import all of Misako's weird stuff, and Sana weaves a tale based on things that have happened in her life.
A very familiar tale, yes.
That's where so many of the gifs I want to make are. I'm like I want to gif of Fuyuki like lifting the desk over his head like Tsuyoshi, like
The ballet dancing,
the
that
ballet
was my favorite
dancing.
part.
Oh, it's so good. It is so funny. It really
Where do you
tickles
think
me.
she gets all these ideas, Tsuyoshi?
I know. I did love that Babbitt was just like, are you so be so for real right now?
Oh, that's another
Where
line
d
I really liked in the English dub was like, oh, why don't you go and buy a clue?
that
So stupid.
I love it. Actually, sorry, this is kind of a random moment. A random Babbitt thought. Um, but earlier in the episode, I think like Sana says something like, you know, it's hard when you have an alligator stuck to the back of your teeth. And Babbitt literally goes like, "That's not a thing." And then of course another Babbitt comes on with an alligator stuck to the back of his teeth. Um,
Yeah.
and in the English version, Babbitt just like screams, and in the Japanese version, Babbitt goes, "You're a disgrace to the whole family." And
Both are
I
great,
do,
honestly.
I just, "You're a disgrace to the whole family" really got me. I was like, the family of Babbitts, and he's just like, "Get out." It's so funny. Back to the scene in question. So it turns out that Fuyuki has invited Shiori over to tell Akito a little bit more about his mom, which was, I thought, a very sweet moment.
Mhm. This
And
is
so we
where we
go,
get this is where we get the montage of
yeah.
they're back in their school days. I think they're like high school. And
So
yeah.
that was a discrepancy between the Japanese version and the English version. In the Japanese version, she says since the first year of middle school, and then in English it says since
Ah,
the first year of high school. And I
okay.
said, why did they do that? Unless I'm like, I'm wondering if it was like a syllables thing, middle instead of like high school is not as many syllables.
Hmm.
Maybe if they were having trouble with like the mouth shape, the up and down. But like, other than that, I'm like, why?
They they both look a bit older, like even in the
Yeah.
flashbacks, I thought. Like that I definitely like that's why I was like, oh, high school. Like
Oh yeah. Well, and I agree that like those, I like I'm like if you're asking me, I'm thinking that that montage is from high school. The uniforms they're wearing are high school uniforms, so like that makes sense to me. But just like the fact that she said, "Oh, like we've known each other for a really long time, like we've known each other longer than the flashback."
yeah.
Does that make sense?
I'd have to go back and watch it again to catch
Okay.
like yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. In the English version of said montage, is Koharu voiced by Laura Bailey?
I was having the same thought. I
Okay.
I don't know. I can like look that up real quick maybe.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I thought the
curious.
same thing, which is weird because
Yeah.
I feel like I would have picked up on that before, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I'm like, if it is, and I'm like wondering if like Percival Don Crow or somebody like really very familiar with the full breadth of Laura Bailey's work could weigh in. Because
I'm
she's not using her
shocked.
typical like anime voice.
I'm shocked. It's not her.
Not her. Who is it?
Hold on. It's someone named Amber Cotton. I don't think I've heard of this
Amber
lady before.
Cotton. Yeah, I don't
She's been in a lot of different things. She's been
really.
in Dragon Ball,
Oh, wow.
that one show about the Detective Conan,
Mm.
Fruits Basket.
Who is she in Fruits Basket?
Seems like she's had a lot of minor roles.
Mm.
Yeah, female student.
Mm.
Soma Woman A. Yeah,
Okay.
uh, it seems like that she does a lot of like additional voices from what I'm seeing.
Mm. That's so interesting. Because yeah, I was pretty willing to bet money on that being Laura Bailey, but I'll be wrong. That's fine. It happens occasionally.
Yeah, I really would have thought it was her, honestly. I
Yeah,
kind of, like I said, kind of shocked. It's not.
I know, same. Dang. That scene is really sweet though. Um, the different seasonal foods, the mochi and the snow cones, the watermelon, and then of course the roasted sweet potatoes.
Sweet
Yeah. Although
potato.
they did change the food in the English version. Some of them are different, which I was like, okay. I think like she says ice cream instead of snow cones, and she doesn't say watermelon in the English version. I can't remember.
Yeah, I didn't write that down, but I knew it was a little
Yeah, it
different. But
was a
it
little
was like
different.
so subtle as it's not
Yeah, it
really a big
wasn't
deal.
a.
The
I'd
sweet
agree, and
potato thing was
the sweet potato thing was the real
the
tie-in,
important
right?
thing.
Yeah, I agree. That I do now. I'm thinking about syllables again. Watermelon. That's a lot when in Japanese it's suika. So I don't know. That's interesting. But yeah. So we got that cute little flashback. And then, lest we forget that this was dubbed in 2006, in the Japanese version, Akito says, "Was she a glutton?" And in the English version, he says, "Did she have an eating disorder?"
Yeah, I thought when I first watched this episode back in, geez, it's been almost 10 years. I thought that line was like it didn't fit. Like
Yes.
regardless of like any kind of like offensive, suggestive
Yeah.
things that are in that line, like it's just a weird line. Like why?
Yeah. Yeah, she's talking about all the foods that she likes to eat. Did she have an eating disorder?
Like
Sir,
who says that? Like and
that
that was an out of character moment.
talk about, yeah, for real. Was she a glutton? It's like, yeah, because she's talking about all the foods she loves. So it's like, was she a glutton? That
Yeah.
line makes sense. Did she have an eating disorder? I just, early 2000s, and anorexia and bulimia kind of were punchlines at that time. Really gotta, for folks who were not there in the early aughts, I need you to understand how well adjusted Ari and I are, like for being young women growing up in that hellscape, particularly around, I'm like, this is the same year that Jessica Simpson wore high-waisted jeans and got panned by every newspaper and magazine in America calling her fat. Please go look up the picture. She looks normal and also hot.
I'm
It
glad that
just,
like my immediate like social circle and family like didn't like buy into any of this. Like
me too. I'm
I
glad
we
for
were
you.
always very like sensitive wouldn't be the word. Understanding.
Yeah.
Like nobody was like would say things like that to be mean or offensive or like
Hmm.
it's just so petty.
It's so petty. And it's like just, yeah, women are still like completely picked apart for their appearance, especially women who enjoy a certain amount of fame. But it back then, it was so weight specific and focused on weight and body appearance. It was rough. I grew up with a Weight Watchers mom. So like, I'm like, I don't want to be like, it's a trigger for me, but like, it's something I feel passionately about.
Mhm.
Food is fuel, and everybody should be kind to themselves and to their bodies because every person in this world could eat the same thing and work out the same way, and everybody would still look different. And that is just how it is. It's what biology is.
Yep.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, that's you wrapped it up very nicely. I don't really have anything to add because I agree 100%. Because it's just you just got to work with what you got, and
Exactly.
you have to be happy with what you got, and if you don't like what you got, you can work on changing what you got. So that's where I'm
Yeah.
at with it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I definitely think it's like healthy to want to like feel better. And sometimes part of that is like feeling like you like look better, you like how your clothes fit more a certain way. But I'm always like, this world is so quick to like kind of push women into eating disorders. And
Mhm.
actually, we should talk about this too, because men have eating disorders and they experience disordered eating and they are diagnosed at a much lower rate than women. because men also have beauty standards and body standards that they are also trying to live up to. And I do want to make sure that that gets acknowledged as well.
And I imagine it's probably due to stigma. Like men, I
Hmm.
feel like probably aren't as likely to seek out help for those
Hmm.
kind of
Absolutely.
issues, because they might
Yes.
be seen as, oh, you're weak, you're not good enough, you're acting, this is kind of an old insult. I don't really hear it that often these days, but they'll
That's
they'll
good.
get called a woman. Like, what's so wrong
Yeah.
with being a woman? I don't
I'm
get
like,
that
I think
insult.
it's yeah. I think the other thing too is just like oftentimes when a man is like losing weight, um, like or is like experiencing disordered eating, but is also like, you know, muscular or like is like hitting the gym a lot and is like looks they look fine from the outside, even though like psychologically food is being experienced in a way that is an eating disorder. Whereas like I do think like a lot of times when women become anorexic, like that's like you can see it. And it's really obvious. And so there might be intervention from friends or family ushering them into, an outpatient facility, or to get treatment or help. Whereas I do
Mhm.
feel like if a man like loses a bunch of weight in a not so healthy way, but is hitting the gym at the same time, like looks good, then everybody will just be like, "You look good, man."
Yeah.
You know, I
Mhm.
just,
We
I,
really veered into a really
oh
heavy one
yeah,
this time.
we did. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
I guess we should wrap up the episode.
Yeah, I guess we should. I'm trying to think like so. I guess the episode ends with Akito, saying that he would rather hear about his mom from Fuyuki,
Very
which
wholesome.
very wholesome, lovely way to end it. And then of course Sana and forces Akito into a song and dance.
Honestly,
And
one of my favorite moments between them in the show.
it's so silly. I love in the English version where he's just like, "Why is it always singing?" Which made me laugh.
Good
And
episode,
then
good
yeah,
episode.
yeah, and then we roll into our panic, and that's the episode. Is there anything else to note?
Um,
I'm looking at my notes really quick. Oh, I got
I
one thing.
honestly didn't have a whole lot of notes this time. I just had some
Hmm.
of the translation stuff, some of
Yeah.
the things I really liked in the episode, but I
Hmm.
don't really have a negative thing I could say about this episode. What about you?
Yeah, not really. Other than like, I'm like, I got some criticisms, which I think we've already pretty much covered. But for the most part, I'm like, it's a great episode. The only other note I have is really just like another little fun fact, Japanese note, which I think at this point I have shouted about it enough that everybody knows, but I feel like it's probably worth mentioning again. But that each member of the Hayama family has a name that has something to do with the season. So Koharu is spring, which Haru means spring, and is used with the kanji. And her name is spelled that way also with the kanji for spring. Natsumi is summer, so she's got Natsu in her name, which is summer. Akito, autumn person with Aki for fall, and then Fuyuki, winter. Fuyu is winter, and he's got that character spelled in his name also. So just a cute little, absolutely insane coincidence, but if you take this episode as, canon, I think Koharu timed it.
I could see that.
Like, I think she timed it. She wanted a summer baby and a fall baby to round out her seasons.
I love Kodocha.
I do too. Like, we'll get tired, but it doesn't get old, you know?
Yeah, every time I pick it back up, it's never a daunting or dull experience.
Yes, I would completely agree. So, it's nice. Well, if that's it.
Yeah, any
Okay.
housekeeping things? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, as always, if you'd like to join us on the podcast for a conversation, the application is in the description box below. Our next episode, which will be released in October, is going to be the start of our fourth year. Um,
Crazy.
yes, and we've got a possibly long awaited uh, topic to kick us off for another year. after a summer of lives and all the rest. So, but appreciate folks for being here.
Thank
And
you.
love to hear your thoughts.
All right, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to 19 O'Clock News, a Kodocha podcast.
19 O'Clock News is hosted by That Kodocha Girl and Mahou Shoujo M.
We love making new friends. Feel free to join us in the Kodocha Discord under Kodocha_media.
19 O'Clock News is not affiliated with any current or previous rights holders to Kodomo no Omocha by Miho Abana.